Hey, what do you know? This is the Melvin Live show, and how's everyone doing today? Today is Thursday, and it's the 3rd of December. And man, I feel like, we are so close to the end of the year, and just so much to look forward to in 2021, or is it? And I think right now, at this point in time, it's great for us to kind of pause and kind of ask ourselves some questions, particularly questions about our business. Should we be continuing doing what we're doing? Or is there some kind of things that we should be doing in terms of our business? Now, I mean, I bring this up because I ask myself some of these questions every day. And in fact, today when I was conducting a session for a group of managerial executives from one of the multinational company, one of the key struggle that these people had was the ability to ask good questions. And so when we put together this training program for them, one of the key focus was really on asking great questions. That I think everybody know that you know asking good questions it's the thing, but what exactly are good questions and when should you ask them? So there are some who think that open-ended questions are better than close-ended questions. Now I beg to differ because it really depends on the situation and what you're wanting to get at. You would ask different questions. So it's not like just because this question is better than that type of question, and so you kind of stick to that kind of question. Because if you're going to continue asking open ended question and not having any close ended question, you might have a lot of ideas, you might have a lot of possibilities, but chances of you deciding on a particular thing to do would be slim to none. And so today I want to share with you nine categories of excuse me, nine categories of questions. And these questions are essentially questions that can help you to be able to think deeper and at the same time to be able to help you understand the circumstance and the situation surrounding your business. So we're going to start off with the first category here. And right at the top of this list of nine questions, nine type of questions, would be open-ended questions. Now, open-ended questions, it's kind of broad. So I like to narrow it down into what are some examples of open-ended questions. But before we get into that, if this is the first time you're watching this channel, this is the Melvin Live Show where I talked about this 1%, 1 million, all digital business. And I, I am still experimenting with what is the best flow like. So I've been thinking like it should be different themes, different day, right? So perhaps Monday should be on a certain theme. Tuesday will be, of course, a different theme. And so if you have got a suggestion, or if you like a particular theme, or you want me to cover a particular theme, make sure you leave it in the comment. And if you haven't already subscribed, do take the chance here to hit the subscribe button, and I will be more than appreciative of that. All right, so let's get into the first type of question, which is open-ended question. Now, what is the purpose of open-ended question? Open-ended question essentially it's to get us to start thinking about the situation, right? So what are open-ended questions? So if you think about the five W and one H questions, those are open-ended questions. So who, what, when, where, why, and how, right? So you want to start off with those kind of questions itself. Personally, I like to start with what. What is it that I would like to achieve today, right? What is it that I like to achieve next year? What is the purpose of my business? What is the reason behind my motivation to start this live show? So that it's my personal favorite, but that doesn't mean that you cannot use any of the other. Why is this important? Right? You can of course ask those kind of questions. So you can start with the what question and then go into the why, and then looking at the how. Right? So that's one way to approach it. Now, second category of questions are what I call directing attention type of questions. Now, what does directing attention type of question means? Now, what it means essentially is that when you say, when you ask yourself, what is the purpose of starting this business? And and so you may list down a whole long list of reasons why you want to um, start this business. And so the next part really is to look at directing your attention to something that it's crucial. So for instance, you want to zoom in on the reason number one, which could be anything, right? You want to zoom in on the reason number one, then that's where you start asking question, directing your attention on the reasons itself, right? So the type of questions that you can ask yourself is, why is this reason important, right? Why is this reason important? Now, it still falls under the 5W, 1H category, but here the intent is to ask specific question that direct your attention on a particular area itself. So that is directing attention. Now, the third type of question is what we call probing questions. Now, probing question is where you want to ask yourself questions that get yourself to look at the situation from different perspective, right? So you want to ask probing question like, what does that mean for the customer? What does that mean for the partners? What does that mean for the people that you work with, right? And quite frankly, sometimes even for me, I get stuck with some of these questions as well. I do not know exactly what it is. But you see, the whole premise behind this is that you have to start somewhere. And once you're able to start somewhere, you are able to really be able to identify what exactly it is that you want to get at. Then that is where, the whole thing kind of like works its magic. All right. So probing type of question. Now, after you go into probing type of question, the The fourth category of questions are what we call reflection question, right? And reflection questions are powerful because it gets you to reflect and think what and why you are looking at this particular reason. So reflection questions, it's something that I use a lot on myself. Like, what went well, right? What is it that I'm capable of, right? What is it that I need new skills in, right? So those are the kind of reflection question that I ask myself. Um, the fifth type of question is what we call motivational questions. Now, motivational questions are questions that say that gets you excited, gets you motivated, gets you inspired. So this is where you want to ask yourself, what if, right? What if money or time was not a problem? What would you have done otherwise, for example? Right. And so that it's motivational type of questions. The questions that get you to dream, for example, right? The next one is what we call, scaling questions. Now, what exactly is scaling questions? Scaling question essentially, uh, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this thing, right? On the scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in being able to achieve this goal, right? And then that's where they say, well, perhaps on a scale of 1 to 10, a 5. And then the follow-up question with what would it take to bring it to a 7, 8, or 9? And that's where you start looking at the different things that you may not have a thought of, for example. Next one is reframing questions, and reframing questions essentially are questions that help you reframe the way that you see things. So asking it from a different angle, asking it from different angle, asking it from the point of view of the customer, right? That could be something that will be able to help you reframe it. Now, reframing question could be, right, instead of looking at the problem, what about you reframe it and look at what are the opportunities instead, right? So a great one to think of is that, you know what are some of the impediments to that impede upon your growth of your business, right? So that is asking questions that are looking at, problems, for instance. Now, what you want to do is you want to reframe that and say things like, imagine if this barriers are eliminated. What then would you need to be able to arrive at the next level? So those are great reframing questions. Last one is summarizing questions. You want to be able to ask yourself a series of questions so that you are able to summarize your thought, right? And finally, of course, you want to end off with close-ended questions. And close-ended question essentially forces you to make a decision about things. And so I've always loved questions. I mean, I believe I ask really really good questions. Especially when I'm doing consulting, because those are the questions that I get people to think about. Why is this important to them? Why is it possible previously, and why is it not possible now? What else can we do, right? What have worked in the past? What has not worked in the past? Why has it not worked, or why has it worked in the past? All these are great questions, and many a times people do not have the answers to those questions, and that is fine, because the whole premise of asking question is to be able to ignite that thought in you. So if I were to be able to, if I were to be able to sit down with you right now and ask you a list of questions, the first question I would like to ask you is this: what does it mean if you have a machine that is able to generate enough cash for you to help you maintain and sustain the kind of lifestyle that you want, so that you can Do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whoever you want, for as long as you want. Right? It's your choice. It gives you option. What does that mean to you? What exactly is that? Right? I would like to ask you the question. What exactly would that be? Right? And based on your answer, I would then ask you, and why is that important? Why is that important to you? Why is this answer that you gave me important to you? You see, because until you are able to identify why is it important to you, you are probably just trying to follow certain trend, or kind of you see what other people are doing and you think that, oh, that's a good idea, and you kind of jump on it, right? So don't get there, because what you want to do is you want to be very clear why you are doing this and why is this important to you. And and of course, afterwards I will be asking you questions relating to three levels. So first level, it's personal. Second level would be intimate, and by intimate I mean questions relating to your family or your loved ones. And then the third level questions would be questions relating to your professional, in the professional context, right? And I would definitely probe into wanting to understand, better understand, and want to know, have you thought of this? Have you thought about that? Have you considered this? Have you considered that? Who have you spoken to? Are your family members supportive of this? On and on and on. I would ask lots of probing questions, right? And so if you want to, get this opportunity to kind of have a chat with me, what you could do is you could actually write in the comment below and state that you would like to have a conversation, and we will take a 25 minutes to help you better clarify what are your goals and what are your dreams and your strategies to achieving what you want to achieve. Now, if that sounds interesting to you, then make sure you leave a comment and we'll get in touch with you. All right. And so that's it for today. When it comes to asking questions, I can go on and on and on, but I'm going to stop here today. Um, so finally, I would like to kind of invite you to take a look at my new website. Well, not new. Take a look at my website. I've just moved hosting, and now it's blazing fast. Right now, it's blazing fast. So, um, check it out and see. Is it just as fast over at your end as it is at my end itself? All right. And so with that, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye bye.